All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Hibike Euphonium, Season 1, Episode 8. Well, Hazuki, that was a bit loud and sudden, and no, just look at this face. Yeah, no, she's definitely dating him. She's head over heels for him.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
There's no question here.
Because
right?
there is no one else that could have possibly stolen her attention.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see in general. Things are moving in a direction toward auditions, though.
Yes.
Ali has left.
Yeah.
That was its own big thing.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly under the best of circumstances, but it happened. She made her decision,
and we're proud of her for being willing to make a
tough call.
Tough
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
In somewhat a kind of a brave call.
Right. Yeah. A grown-up decision of I'm gonna focus on my one thing, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was hard for the Prez to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. In addition to Kumiko, you know.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
But we also had some really kind of good wholesome moments, like Nakagawa actually like taking her
instrument home. That was
just like, oh,
I love
Kumiko, you've done so much
good stuff
already. It's just, this is good.
But we
this
also
so good.
We also have a potential bully arc subplot going.
Yeah, but
because
that's up against Kosaka, which
and
I
she ain't gonna take no shit.
Yeah, I am not afraid for Kosaka
Yeah,
here.
she'll be fine. Like, did you see how she played that trumpet for the whole school, you know, on that mountaintop? Nah, she's gonna be fine.
Yeah, if anything, I'm worried about maybe some of the other girls getting caught in the crossfire.
Well, in Kumiko, because of her past experiences with that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Let's just say she's emotionally invested, on top of the fact that, you know, her heart is going doki doki for Kosaka right now. So, yeah.
But yeah, so y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Like.
Oh, definitely not. Could be nice. Yeah. Oh, and is there anything or anybody that you want to go with, Kumiko? Oh. He's like, I totally heard all of that conversation. Yeah.
It's like, you guys are being really loud.
Really loud,
like,
yeah.
If you think you're trying to be, like, subtle about this, it's, yeah. Oh.
Sort of not really dating.
Oh, no! Oh!
No one is good enough for me.
Of course not. Oh, yes.
That was a fast save there.
The chop of silence.
Yep.
All right, Festival Triangle, which means...
この部分は何を表現しているんですか? 地球を離れただ一人遠い星に旅立つその旅路を修復するように月が待っている場面です。そこまでで結構ですよ。
Nice. Good.
さんの舞はなかなかのものでした。
Yes, the animators clearly spent a lot of time on that.
Nice.
Okay.
Took the spirit of what she was saying rather than all the extra detail.
And he probably called on her specifically because he knew she would have that energy.
それでは次、ベルリン B の頭。
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Well,
so wow.
でも前よりは絶対上手くなってるって。
Yeah.
でももっと上手くなりたいね。
God, there's so much little animation and stuff in the show. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's like every episode I watch, I forget And then I get reminded all over again, you know?
いつかって何してんの
Wait.
Oh boy.
一緒に行かね
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
なんで
Oh my god.
いや
Oh man. Like, you knew that this had to happen, but like...
I thought he was looking at Kosaka!
私の思考回路は思いっきり混戦してしまった
Maybe because he
なんだよ
realizes that Kumiko likes Kosaka? Or he suspects? Oh man. Oh, this is all kinds of complicated.
葉月ちゃんは週一大型祭りに誘いかけて
She's like, I need to plot this out.
なるほど
Oh my god. And that just makes it worse, yeah.
これはまたや
My life is over.
突然なんです運命なんですよねまこちゃん
Ah!
定時行きましょう待ってやば
Oh no. Say no.
赤松ごめん俺ちょっと
No!
Oh no. Oh no. Oh boy.
行くか
No! Ah!
ていうか赤玉祭り
Oh my god, I love Kumiko so
Yep.
much.
Oh no.
ね私この子と行くことにしてて
え高坂と
Yes.
行っていいのか
My god. Oh no. This is so... Oh. She's like, yes, this will go great. No, it's not. You're rejecting a guy, then telling him to go talk to your friend
Poor
who has a crush
Kosaka
on
has
him.
no idea what's going on right now.
She's like, what have I done?
Kosaka's like, so can we talk about that?
何時にどこ集合
Ah!
お祭り行くんでしょ
Ah!
Just like that.
Okay, yeah, sure.
お父かお待たせ
Oh my god,
They're adorable.
かわいい
look at his red ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goto. Yeah. Oh my god. So cute. It is a mini Midori.
Look at the attention to detail. Wow.
こんばんは
Oh my god. Wait, so then they are actually meeting up.
Maybe?
加藤悪い遅れた
Oh. Wait.
ユーボ持ってこ
Are they gonna practice while they're at the festival?
I guess so.
何
いや可愛くてびっくりした
And she's like, oh, and I'm in like regular clothes.
なんで
A short hike.
楽器は交代で待つから
Oh, that's nice
That's
of her.
really nice of her, yeah.
不安を感じながらもその美しさに惹かれ命を落としてしまう気持ちというのはこういうものなんだろう
Wow.
Okay.
私はこっ
Wait,
ちの方が
you're hiking in heels?
渋くて大人な感じがする
いきなり山に登ったりとか
私を何だと思ってんのするわけないでしょ
だよね
I really love this background track.
Uh-huh.
部活行って家戻って
Routine.
なんかたまにそういうの全部捨てて18切符でどっか旅立ちたくなる交代楽器
Yeah, switch the
こ
load.
れ重いし
ダメ
That's the point.
そういうの
Yeah.
ちゃんとしないと気が済まない
Yeah. She's like, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
heavy.
this is heavy.
何
その白ワンピースに UFO も出せてるの背徳感がすごい
Oh, wait.
yeah. It's actually
Yeah.
hurting her ankles.
でも痛いの嫌いじゃないし
何それなんか色変態
That interaction just in
That was
general, I'm
great.
like, what
Yeah.
is- Wow.
加トちゃんじゃない何彼氏やったぜ加トちゃんかよ追いかけちゃダメだよ
私さ塚本のことが好きなんだけど
She just said it. Good for her.
あうんいや
Aww.
何その反応
Oh, man. What are you gonna say, dude? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
そっか。
Oh man, that slight just like lowering of her head.
Yeah. Yeah.
私が久美子との間取り持つわ。
いや、あいつとはそんなんじゃないし。
Oh, that little smile that she held back there.
入るのが仕事なのだよ。
Oh. Oh.
Okay.
久美子と遊んでみたいなって。
Oh.
久美子って性格悪いでしょ。もしかしてそれ悪口？全国行けると思ってたのって聞いたんだよ。
She still
性格
remembers
悪い
that.
でしょ。いや、これは愛の告白。
Wait.
どう考えても違うでしょ。でも私、久美子のそういうところ気になってたの。でも本当はどこか冷めてて。だからいい子ちゃんの皮ペリペリってめくりたいなって。それはどういうわかんないかな、私の愛が。
Whoa.
Wow.
他人と違うことがしたかったの。
Okay.
気になる？そんなわけないじゃん。そんな
We
んじゃ
can be
ない。
distant together up here.
そんなんじゃないんだ。
That little smile.
Yeah.
私、興味ない人とは無理に仲良くなろうと思わない。誰かと同じで安心するなんて。
Oh. Yeah.
レイナ。
First name basis?
私、特別になりたいの。だから私はトランペットをやってる。特別になるために。命を落としても構わないと思う。
Yeah.
トランペットやったら特別になる。
The way, like, as she
Yeah.
moves, she. Yeah.
本物の特別になる。
Wow.
Whoa.
やっぱり久美子は性格悪い。
Ah. Wow.
This is so good.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And then you can see everyone else montaged here.
Yep. The adorkable couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, and the
Yeah.
little sister too. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, this episode.
That episode was so good.
so good.
That was so good.
That's insane.
That was so good. Holy shit. That was
That was
so good. That was an episode right there. Like this is one of those things where it's like, man, Kyo Annie. Like
Kyo Annie.
Yeah,
You don't mess around.
you don't mess
Do
around.
not mess around.
I mean, what?
like the level of just detail. And
Oh
just
yeah. Like
beauty throughout this episode, over the course of it, throughout it.
yep.
I forget how quality this show is in terms of its just overall end
Like,
result.
I feel like Kosaka's speech about wanting to be someone special, that's almost like Kyo Annie saying their mantra, you know, of like with the way they make anime and everything and like and all that stuff. And like and
is this an original anime though?
I believe so. I could be wrong. I'm not positive.
We should know that by now.
Well, we should. Yes. Regardless, the amount of, you know, yes, even if it wasn't original, there's the source material, but the amount of stuff that they put into the adaptation of it, at the very least, is incredible.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was Kumiko. Not just
that's definitely what we're supposed to feel.
Just getting, you know, just entranced
Pulled
and
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I know this is going from, you know, outside of the order, but the way that like as Kosaka moved, she just her whole body like shifts because she's that entranced. Like,
oh yeah, it's in some ways an alluring, a seduction, an entrancing, you know, kind of act, and it's something that is real, and it is something that we can get into what it means for the characters, but in terms of the actual animation and what it was, the presentation,
yeah,
it was entirely meant to just enrapture the viewer, and it worked.
One of the things that
perfectly.
like in usually I see this a lot more in like Disney films and things like that, but that music can be used to convey a lot of growth emotionally or whatever, or passage of time. You know, you can have a lot of stuff happen within the time that a song is playing, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I feel like this the scene at the end with Kosuke and Kumiko was basically that, except they do all of the there's the background music and everything, but they do that through the expressions of the characters and what they're saying and whatnot, and then the music is then just put at the end, right, where it's the cherry on top, the finisher for this already amazing scene. And
I mean, they were playing music throughout their walk as well.
Oh yeah. Like the background tracks, right. Yeah. But man,
you're talking about what they played together.
Yes,
okay. Gotcha.
because the song was beautiful. I loved it, right? But if I had just heard that song completely in a vacuum, out of context, knowing nothing about the show, not being in this scene in the show, for instance, right, it would have been a totally different effect, right? But it's just the fact that it happened there was just so good, and that was just there's so much more that I want to say about that scene, but we need to talk about the whole episode,
right?
But there was so much in this episode.
There was. I think that this is, though, something that we're more coming to realize about Hibike Euphonium, is that you cannot actually do enough discussion on this show. I'm just gonna put it out there,
I feel
guys. Like we are woefully inequipped to be able to wholly discuss how much actually is packed within an individual episode. Because an individual episode of Hibike Euphonium has so much extra just attention to detail put onto minor little things.
Yep, the smallest gesture, or
right. That when they do episodes like this, where they go way over the top, and it's to a point where it's actually just impossible for us to bring up everything. We almost have to like calm ourselves and be like, okay, what are we going to focus on here?
Yeah.
And I think because we're primarily kind of story-based kind of people in general, that's even more so of an issue. Hibike Euphonium has so much extra stuff going on beyond the story.
With how it's presented rather than just the narrative elements.
100%.
Yeah.
So this episode had tons of little moments like that. Except I would say that this episode kind of got into some really, really interesting, well-layered dialogue that was beyond the exposition usually of here's how instruments work and here's how, you know, yada yada yada, the wind ensemble kind of whole thing, you know, works in general. So this episode ended up feeling even more jam-packed in that regard, because the dialogue focused more around the characters than actually the subject matter of the setting.
This felt like to me, like, if any of you have seen the movie Amadeus, there's a part where now,
which part?
The part where Salieri gets his hands on Mozart's sheet music for the first time.
Oh, okay.
And he just looks at it, right? And then he looks at it and he just drops it. He's so overcome just from looking at the music on paper, right? That it blows him away, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like and it's in that moment that Salieri realizes his own inadequacies, right? Of like how like this is something that I can't touch, right? This is divine almost, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of how I feel with this episode, where there is so much here that I know I can't pick up on, right? Like that I know that, like, we could probably go through this frame by frame.
Specifically with the production side.
Yeah, with the production and the presentation, right? So much attention to detail and so much love and passion put into this that it just blows me away. Like in the beginning, when they're all talking and it's like, oh, who do you like, and all this stuff and whatnot, and the conversation between Hazuki and Midori and Kumiko, and it's so it's so just sort of simple fun, right? Like, this is the kind of conversation that, we love to see in anime, right? It's great fun. It's, it's endearing and whatnot. But even with the way the characters are drawn, KyoAni isn't directly flexing here. It's not like, all right, we're going to make something that looks so gorgeous that you'll be floored by it. But there are still all these little things in there, like the nervous, like, tapping and like, movement
Twisting of the legs.
Twisting of the
and
legs
stuff.
and, like, and Midori's just general energy, that goes to show that, no. There were a lot of people working very hard to make this happen.
Yeah. And let's go into the story side of things here rather quickly so that we can get at least a good chunk of that out of the way here. Because story-wise, what this episode set up was the festival.
Yep.
The classic, festival where we can have a lot of potential for romantic subplots to develop.
Yep.
And it's the who are you going with?
Right.
Kind of
touch base on all the characters.
School drama,
Yep.
But because we're starting off with stuff that came from the previous episode of who likes who, and we already have now our love, pentagon of sorts,
The fact that Kumiko was like, I need to draw this out. Hold on a second. So she likes him. And okay. All right. Yeah. Like that. Man.
And then who actually, you potentially like, Kumiko is indeed drawn on there because that would be admitting to yourself what's going on, maybe a little bit internally. And we can't have, full-on received love confessions of the, non-straight variety.
Well, and also I think it's something. Well, yes, because I that is definitely part of it. But I feel like it's also something where Kumiko is so like she says when they're going up the mountain.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. But she thinks she hasn't completely fallen head over heels yet.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
That's Kumiko's issue here. Whereas really, you're gone, man. Solid.
Gone.
Like you're way past the point of no return, girl. And you just haven't realized it yet. And then that's kind of what this episode is.
Shoes off.
Yep.
Draped over the stairs, like leaning towards your
the object of your attention.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Affection. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Words failed me in that moment.
Just like they fail Kumiko, right? It's and
one-word responses.
Yep, and I love it because even if real life might not be as stunningly presented as as this show, with regards to all the situation, things like that, but that's what it feels like.
Exactly.
Right?
That was my point. It can be because love is something that hopefully all of us get to experience at least once.
Yep.
And when you experience it, real life looks pretty dang good at times.
Especially that dumb first love. Right?
Yeah.
Where and when I say dumb, I don't mean that in a derogatory way.
Yeah,
I mean like
I know what you mean.
where it's so completely just no thoughts and logic and sense have no place here.
Yeah.
Right? It's just okay. The like flies to honey or to a light bulb or moth to flame, like for good or ill, I'm going.
And it was wonderful. So we got to see a little bit from every character that has been named, basically, their thoughts on love and or the romantic possibilities of utilizing the festival for this nature here. But I want to draw attention to what I think is the crux of the episode's themes, which is that the Agata Festival is something that is basically going to be the beginning for some musical pieces, as Hazuki, as Midori brings it up here. And that, why are you so aggressive about this? Because music is almost always born from love, of course. Love and death are timeless themes of music. I'd even go so far as to say that they are every piece's genesis, Hazuki-chan. Well, at the end of this episode, because of a love connection, music is played.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the bookends for the
Sure,
episode.
I like it.
And it's just a pretty way to show that music of many different kinds can come from love, even if it's not fully reciprocated love.
Like in the case of Hazuki.
In the case of Hazuki, who does not get fully reciprocated love, but also potentially sets up a very familiar type of plot line for those of you that have watched Toradora.
Or many other series out there.
Series
and
I'm going to help set you up with so-and-so.
And to be fair, Hazuki, that could just be something where it makes it more painful, you know? But that could also be something where it's a way to trick yourself and your own heart into basically getting into a position where you can still kind of be friends with the person so that after the drama and all the stuff clears away, because remember,
playing the long game, basically.
Right, playing the long game, because remember, you were confessing to, well, you asked him out directly after he got rejected.
Yeah.
Like literally, the person that was rejecting him was like, go talk to my friend. Get out of here. I don't want to talk to you right now.
Yep.
So you weren't exactly like...
primed for success.
Yeah, you know, kind of at a disadvantage
it was a stacked
there.
deck against
It was a stacked deck, but, you know...
I feel for you.
I feel like this could be like one of those like salesman pitches. Like people don't, you know, agree to the deal on the first you know, approach. Like
wow,
you know. So
wow.
So if you're able to use this as a way to sort of stay around him and have good interactions and stuff, who knows? Maybe something could come from it.
Maybe.
And the fact that you were able to cry with Midori means that at the very least that is getting addressed, because that's really that's important.
Good.
And
it's very good.
I've loved how that scene went, even though we didn't
get to hear anything.
We didn't get to hear anything because it wasn't
the music
needed.
Played over it.
Yep.
That's love, bitch. Yeah. Okay, so the episode gets into some really cool dynamics of understanding who's, you know, connected to who in special ways, who likes who's already in relationships with who.
Even if they're secret relationships that mustn't be talked about, and Asuka's just like, oh god, finally, I don't have to walk around on eggshells.
Yeah.
Already making it official. Good.
I really loved the dynamic of the base group in general, kind of having a little bit of understanding of where they're all at with this. But I really liked Nakagawa's little interactions with Kumiko. I want to bring up the idea that Nakagawa, in this case here, is more passionate about the wind ensemble and this stuff in general because of Kumiko.
Yeah.
And so frame every interaction that they have around that, but also just look at who Nakagawa just ends up spending time with in general. Because I'll bet you almost anything that she's going to primarily spend most of her time in the base group, at the very least, just talking to Kumiko.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's necessarily
Kumiko,
that she likes Kumiko.
Right, or just because Kumiko's the main character, but it's something where clearly Kumiko has had an effect on Nakagawa and her life, really, right? The time that she spends here. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So that bit where I thought I saw... the boy, Shuichi, looking at Kosaka. Was he not actually looking at Kosaka here?
No, I think... no, so, okay, he was looking at Kumiko, and then he noticed that Kosaka
was also looking at Kumiko.
Or at least that she noticed that he was looking at Kumiko.
Oh, that's what that meant. Okay.
So, yeah.
So... they both had an acknowledgement of what was going on.
Right.
But there's a possibility that Kosaka was looking that way because she was looking at Kumiko.
That is definitely a possibility, because she straight up said when they were going up the mountain, this is a love confession, right?
Yeah.
But it was also something where then when she was thinking like, oh, those are lights of the festival, and she's like, oh, thinking about Shuichi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you're so far away and stuff. I liked that Shuichi feels a lot like one of the main cast whenever he's interacting with Kumiko. Their dialogue is so natural and simple.
It's one of the reasons I love the childhood friend trope or archetype as like in series.
Yes.
Because it can make there be a lot of really cool interactions between characters that wouldn't otherwise have happened, because a lot of the times
flavor to it.
Right, because if most of the characters are meeting each other for the first time, there are certain conversations that just don't make sense to happen right out the gate, and maybe are reserved for senpais and such, but not so much as not as much for like the main character, because they're usually entering into this new world, right?
Yeah.
And so having someone that is familiar with them from before, we can have great interactions like this.
Yeah. So them sitting, by their special spot and what have you, and him kind of setting things up so that he can potentially, ask.
You're like, hey, what are you doing on the 5th?
And she's just completely oblivious to that.
Yeah, and she's really not helping him out. Like they.
Well, she doesn't see him like that at all.
Oh, definitely not. Right.
So then she has the whole. He took me completely by surprise. My thoughts became a scattered mess.
Yeah.
And she says, "What the like?"
Which I feel like is adding to Kosaka's statement of your personality is really awful, because this is someone who she's known for most of her life.
She's distant.
But she's distant, right?
Exactly.
And even though this is someone that she's known for so long, nope. Arm's length at least.
Yeah.
And then after he asked her to go to the festival with him, that whole sequence of her just with like the flat eyes,
which is so great because KyoAni did that intentionally.
Right.
Like, her eyes are the exact same color as her hair because she's dead inside thinking about, God,
my life is over.
No.
Like, let me go through the ramifications of this.
Let me do the simple math here.
Right.
If 1 + 1 equals 2.
All these circles form a triangle.
1 equals 3. Yeah.
Right.
The whole naruhodo. There's some Nietzsche Joe just like glorious, like thick straight eyebrow, like yes.
Like, and I love I love that we get this in the same episode as the mountain hike.
Oh my God,
like,
yes.
Like because having a consistent look for a show can be a lot of fun, right? Where it's this is what the show looks like, and it might look really good and stuff, and that's what we do, and it's familiar, and there you go, right? But I feel like this show is this wonderful example where KyoAni as a studio is like,
this is ours.
This is ours.
Yes,
we can do it however we want. We can
However.
experiment. And because we have done so many different things and we're so good at the things that we do, we can have the majority of it maybe be, cutesy and just gorgeous looking and whatnot. But then we'll throw in some good old simplistic derpiness,
With
and
the
it just
invisible
works
arms
perfectly.
that wiggle just the hands and
Yep,
the
yep.
puffed out cheeks as they're like, no, it's not like that,
Right. Yeah. It's like that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it's
I
wonderful.
love it. I love
wonderful.
it.
So this show is just absolutely blending its comedy, its drama, and its character stuff really well. And I also have to say that in terms of like surprise MVPs, like no honorable mentions, like freaking Midori, Sapphire, she was amazing.
I want to just
how much she was encouraging
Yep.
and emboldening Kazuki. Just
Fly, run,
or Hazuki.
confess.
Just go,
Like,
do it.
Like I almost
Romance.
want to just call her Edna from this point on, of just like, go confront the problem, fight,
Fight,
win.
win.
All tiny, but like, no, I'm a
Fiery small little package.
right,
yes.
I'm a monster. Now, the more and more I see of Midori just doing her thing, it's like, yes, contrabass is perfect for her.
It really
It's
is,
not
yeah.
just the visual gag of I'm small but I play a really big instrument. It's the I'm small but
I am a force of nature.
but I am a force of nature. My
Hear me
feelings are
roar.
big. Right. Hear me roar. Right. Yeah. And so of course I would play the biggest instrument, right? Like
Right,
that's
right.
Yeah, I just that was great. And then when again later, but when we got introduced to her little sister and she's just so cute. Like
and the fact that there's so much wholesome innocence to all of this where you can tell
we
that
shared a look. Oh no, it's fate. It wasn't
it was
coincidence.
inevitable.
Yeah.
Like there's so much to this that you can just feel their heart, their spirit surrounding
Yep.
this whole thing, and the characters are just coming to life more and more as they get into these kind of awkward situations. But this one
Speaking
was
of awkward
this one was probably
situations.
one of the
Oh my god.
just supreme awkward situation.
I love it so much. Like the idea of private conversation.
You signaled me.
You
What?
signaled me.
What?
No, I was trying to avoid you because you said something that made me nervous, right?
Right,
And
right.
then, oh no, how am I going to get out of it? I'm going with this person. Just
Whoever it is.
Literally anyone else. Which,
Anyone.
from the standpoint of what that communicates to Shuichi, it's like,
I
wow.
would pick anyone
I would pick
over you.
literally anyone over you.
Yeah.
I would pick
In some
annoying
ways-
moe blob bow on her head, girl
but
over
you know what's genius about this scene is that from the writing standpoint,
Oh yeah.
this was basically framed as the, oh no, everyone gets into the room that's too small for all their personalities.
A wonderful, just
a chaotic closet meet, basically.
Right.
So, Kumiko enters first, right? Mm-hmm. Shuichi follows quickly after to be like, so what are we going to talk about?
Right.
You want us to talk about something? And she's like,
it was
no,
probably the festival, right? Yeah.
miscommunication setup. Perfect.
Wonderful.
That basically allows them to be on separate pages for when the next stage of the conflict comes in.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, so, you wanted to go to, the festival. Oh, wait, you have plans or something? And she's like, yeah, I'm going with this person. At this point, someone has entered, so she takes the advantage to quickly, shift things, which is in some ways kind of passing the buck.
Oh, definitely.
A little bit.
Definitely.
But there's another layer.
Kumiko does that all the time, yeah.
Right, but there's another layer that works really well because it's Kosaka. There's it could have literally been anyone, but he looks up at the same time that this person is being chosen by her, meaning that he assumes that she knows who it is, especially because it's Kosaka. Yeah. Earlier in the episode, he noted that Kosaka was looking towards her potentially. And so he's like, oh, you two have a thing going on.
And there's also the whole idea that once Kumiko, and since Kosaka realized that Shuichi likes Kumiko, right? When Kumiko leaves, and then Shuichi leaves as well.
Why did Kosaka come over here?
Because she's like, hold up now,
But it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Why did Kosaka come here at this specific time? Was it just coincidence?
Well, because this dude was gonna go talking to my girl,
Or at the very least, maybe she's thinking, oh, this is a good time for me to go talk to Kumiko.
Potentially. Yeah, maybe, right? And then of course, then Hazuki, bless her heart, is like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Yes. Oh, all right. Shuichi left the room because she's just looking at Shuichi. She's not thinking about Kumiko or anything like that, right?
Yep.
So she's like, Shuichi left the room. Great. I'll go and I'll talk to him and I'll ask him to the festival. It'll be great. And it is literally, it could not be a worse time.
It could not be the worst time because Kosaka getting basically put into this situation is like wonderful for her. Because it expedites basically her process, whatever it was going to be.
And I am all for convenient things happening within the narrative that
push characters' developments
characters' developments faster, that aren't like sources of conflict, right? So it's not like resolving conflict just because coincidence, but it's like, hey,
it's the opposite of melodrama.
Right, exactly. It's let's cut to the chase, let's get to the good stuff. Yeah, if they happen to be neighbors, yeah, why not? Right?
Why not?
It keeps things moving,
Yeah, and as long as you can communicate a little bit as to why it's not contrived, it works. But I think this part here is the most dangerously contrived aspect.
Oh, really?
Except for the fact that it's Kosaka.
Right. So because Kumiko doesn't know, but the reason why Kosaka was there, it totally makes sense.
Makes sense. So when Kosaka then has the response of, so when should we meet? We, as the audience, go, of course, right. Oh my God, yes. But then for the scene, it's basically just the perfect storm of all of this happening to work out, and then in some ways, our heroine in this episode,
right,
Hazuki, shows up and is just like, why are there 3 people here? Like, wait, what?
Well, and
no.
And the thing of Kosaka being like, when are we meeting? That was at the end of the day.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just trying to explain that and wrap it up so that when Hazuki, I keep calling her Kazuki because Kato Hazuki, but when Hazuki shows up, it then is the perfect way for Kumiko to shunt him off.
Right, to pass the buck again.
Which sets up a reason in the present for Kosaka to observe Kumiko's bad personality, her horrible personality, if you will.
She's literally
in process.
She's literally passing the buck of her own uncomfortable situation onto her friend with the crush.
Yes,
right. Like
who she's very much aware of has this thing thinking in her mind. Like, let's assume the best about Kumiko here. Kumiko's thinking that she's helping here.
Right. of I'm giving them a chance to talk. No. You're making it so that it happens in the worst possible way.
Right, you're actually killing every opportunity of it happening because of how bad.
Right. You're not
in this case. Shuichi is feeling surrounding.
Right.
This whole
Exactly.
thing.
You're not addressing his feelings, so you're definitely not setting up Hazuki for success.
Right. And yet, what's fun about this is that this sets up the conflict regarding the love confession from Kosaka.
Sure.
In that she's like, "Wow, you really are kind of the worst in some ways, aren't you?" Like I can't wait to talk about that discussion on the mountain. Hike. But I just loved this scene for just dancing around the contrived melodrama aspect of it to bring about some just wonderfully beautiful character writing.
And the chaos of it, I feel like is a, it's a constructed thing within this show, right? That you don't get chaotic situations that are so perfectly chaotic, that often in just real life.
That's why we're watching this story.
That's why we're watching this story. Exactly, right. But that general feeling of just tumultuous chaos and everything going wrong and how could it possibly go like this?
Every day.
That happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
So having it be showcased in this story of adolescence where everything's changing and and all of a sudden, we're in a room with this person likes this person who is also liked by this person, but then this other person comes in who is the best friend of this person, but they like this person, and then the other person is, it's great.
Yeah, your
it's
diagram
wonderful.
was too simple,
right?
Kumiko.
Yeah, this wasn't a triangle.
wait.
If only it was a triangle. You'll be wishing that it was a triangle.
Oh yeah.
No,
yeah.
it's much worse than that.
You even thought it was an unclosed triangle.
Right, exactly. This is some asymmetrical polygon,
this is a great purple worm, basically.
This is all sorts of just
madness. But I wanted to bring attention to the way the scene ended, and that was that Kumiko kind of clutched a little bit tighter to Kosaka's wrist and kind of looks off the side, and then the scene is framed in a little bit of a gray overtone.
Oh.
Of basically just like...
She just realized what she did?
She just kind of realized what she did, but also kind of was like, I kind of used you, and feels ashamed about it.
Sure,
because it's not just how she handled things with Kosaka, not with Kosaka, but also with Hatsuki and Shuichi. It's that she kind of does, we know this, she does have a little bit of a, whoa, Kosaka's so wondrous and beautiful, and there's
that's probably the
some
big thing
attraction
holding
there
Kumiko back.
But then the fact that it's like, oh, damn it. Why did it have to be you? There's almost this feeling of I really...
Did I just really screw things up?
I just really screwed things
and
up.
Then,
right.
Like
that time with Kosaka, the one person who she has that prior kind of shame kind of memory.
But then, and that's why it's so wonderful later when she's leaving school and she just sort of drops her shoes and is like, all right, well, I'm not exactly going home in high spirits. But then Kosaka shows up and is like, so when do we meet?
And it's just like, huh?
Right. And this is the kind of thing where it goes to show in my mind that I think these characters should end up together. Because
I totally agree. I don't want to get accidentally lured into
something that never happens.
Something that never happens.
Well, granted, this is about band, so it doesn't necessarily need to they took all the romantic subplot stuff and consolidated it into the one episode. So this is,
it might get referenced. It probably definitely.
It'll definitely get referenced, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if then in season 2 there's another single episode for romance stuff, right? And then that's what it is for the series, right?
Gotcha.
But
format meta,
right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But as far as the characters, right? Kumiko thinks so highly of Kosaka that it could actually be a problem.
Yes, I agree. I was going to mention that, yes.
It has caused trouble already, right? With her own kind of insecurities and not waking up and looking up and smelling the roses, right? when Kosaka literally says this is a love confession, she laughs it off because she's like, there's no way, right?
Okay, we'll get into the details of that conversation. That's where we're going to spend
a
whole chunk of discussion.
But with this scene here where she's going to put on the shoes and Kosaka's just like, when are we meeting? This is basically showing that because Kosaka Kosaka has other quirks to her that Kumiko doesn't really pay much mind to.
Okay.
The way she's so quiet and sort of direct, and sometimes she opens up with Kumiko, and that's great, right? But for the most part, she is almost like socially clueless. Like,
True.
but that becomes a positive thing, because then it's the things that you do that you would see as screwing things up irreparably. No, it's no problem, right? Because when are we meeting?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, so we have the festival. Everyone meets up with their respective, duo member, and I love that. I love that we don't really get that kind of thing focused of like someone, ending up basically being alone. Like even even Sapphire
Shuichi
Midori
still
has
goes
a younger sister.
Oh, right, and Shuichi still goes with Hazuki, even if when the love confession comes, it doesn't actually go the way she wants.
Right, because I would say that at the very least, Shuichi is a good boy. Like he's an earnest good boy, and and there's no reason for him to really reject her in this case here, but I like that he also didn't lead her on in any dramatic way and stuff. So I think their interaction stuff went rather well. But let's just get into the big thing here now. Like,
but before we do, I want to point something out. Okay. I love what they did with the outfits of all the characters this episode.
Yes.
Oftentimes in anime, when the characters go to a festival, it's all the girls are wearing yukatas, and then the guys wear, sometimes formal wear, sometimes not, whatever, right? But for each of the characters in this scene, I feel like it really did a lot to showcase their personality and their emotional state. In the case of Midori, right, she's the romantic, right? So of course she wears the classic, right? She wears the yukata and it's gorgeous and all of that stuff, right? For Hazuki, she's wanting to, she's got that energy to her, but she's also insecure. So she's not putting too strong of a front out, right? Yeah. It's the I casually look good, right? I spent a lot of care and attention to make sure that I look how I look, but I want it to come off as not trying too hard because I'm not sure if he likes me yet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Kumiko, she dresses casually, right?
There is zero thought in her mind regarding anything.
Because she is so convinced that this is just a happy accident, basically, but it's not actually that she really cares about me that much, right? Her own self-esteem in the situation is very low, right? Then Kosaka, she's the I will be me. I will be different, and I will be awesome.
I will look special.
I will look special, right?
And holy crap, she basically goes all out here.
But it also shows
in an impractical way.
Yes, in an impractical way. And it also goes to show that means that basically she's saying, hey, this is special to me. Not just I want to be special, but in this situation where we are the only two people in the world, I want to be special.
To you too.
Right. When there's literally no one else that you're going to be seeing.
Like, so I love I love how romantic this whole thing is. So first things first, I love to hike. Like personally, I am a bit of a sadist in the in the way that Kosaka is. So Kosaka's remarks that she made as they were headed up, I felt a kindred spirit in Kosaka in a very strong way.
So when Kumiko was like, "That's kind of hot," you were like,
"I'm like, yes, yes, it is. It is kind of hot." And and yet, her idea that she came here with the intent of I'm making the plan, which I'm taking charge. Okay, awesome. Yep. But also I'm wearing something that is impractical for the thing that I'm doing because I have something more important on my mind than the act of making my way up this mountain.
Yeah, hiking up a mountain while half the time carrying a youth on her back.
Well,
in heels.
To be fair, I think that was something that was more or less a thing of I want to share your burden. I want to be a part of your life.
Definitely.
There's a little thing to that, and it's also just a common courtesy. To be like, I'll help you carry your instrument. It's just a long
You've
way
got
up
a
there.
much heavier one than I do, and I'm the one who said, bring your instrument.
Right, exactly. I'm making you do this.
Right.
Or I'm encouraging you to do this. I set up this idea. This was my, so I'm going to help make it easier for you so you enjoy it more. That makes sense. But I love the idea that in the impractical romantic nature of I wore this special dress and heels and stuff, I'm going to do something that is just actually it doesn't make sense to do in these heels and stuff. So it's extra stuff to bring up the I want to be special here. I want to stand out even to you, even though you have nothing to compare me to, basically here, other than maybe yourself, I guess. But like, no, I want to be even strange with this.
And so also with the thing of the and the way that Kumiko just sees her and is like, whoa, but then also, okay, yeah, I didn't, man, okay, I really didn't dress up at all. All right. But when Kosuka makes the point of, I don't mind a bit of pain, I feel like that's also kind of, whether she's intending this or not, it's her own little way of saying, I know you've got a terrible personality.
I don't mind your flaws.
I don't mind your flaws. I know that you mind your flaws and how insecure you are about all the things that you say of like, oh, you know, you thought we could actually make it to nationals and things like that, right? When she did the hair flip and she's like, that's totally something you would say. That was when Kumiko kind of laid bare how bumbling and nervous she was and how much she stressed out and was neurotic over every little detail of things that she says to Kosuka, right?
Right.
So when she says, I don't mind a little bit of pain, it's it's also the, you know, the heels and everything, but it's those little comments, they don't bother me.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't.
Also, the thing about, well, you know, our past together, the very first scene of the whole dang anime, being something that was a source of pain for her. Yeah. You know, something where it was kind of that, you know, maybe brutal honesty.
Yeah, maybe that was something that had a big impact on her, you know, because that was something where Kosuka was definitely not okay with what happened, right? No. And while I think she would definitely, you know, be heartbroken if after all this work that they put in, if they still didn't make nationals, I think she'd be able to handle it a lot better.
Yeah. So and then thus begins basically the
siren song.
The siren song. Yeah, exactly. The love confession. We head up to ascend this struggling mountain climb, and there's so many little nuances that we could go into here. And it's just going to be a question of how detailed do we want to go into this. But I love that we get actually into Kumiko's headspace. Oh, she's enthralled.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah. Her mind goes to poetry. Like,
right. Like, in my mind, I think about this as being like that time when, for whatever reason, you had someone that liked you and you felt like you didn't deserve it. You were just like,
yeah,
why me? Like, it's something that's it's something I don't even know how to describe it really. So I totally understand Kumiko. Kumiko is just basically one of the more relatable anime protagonists out there just in general, because we get into a really good idea of how neurotic she is at times.
Yeah, she's a really good example of the sort of normal girl sort of in anime without it just being like a blank slate, you know, but because actually
she very much has a personality.
Right, having her own flavor of normal, right? Because no one's actually normal, right? But very much feeling in that, okay, I'm kind of nobody special, you know, I'm just sort of going through high school. But apparently you're special to Kosuka.
Yeah. Which do you like better? It's like that shrine from earlier, this one here, just kind of like, hey, you know, I'm trying to do small talk here, but also a little callback to before and stuff. So she's just like, oh, I, you know, haven't really, doesn't really give much there. He's like, I'd like this one better myself. It's more classy and mature, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's just kind of that nothing stuff there. And she's just kind of like, hey. It's like, what? Like, do you do this kind of thing often? What do you mean? I'm like, hiking up mountains and stuff. What do you think I am?
I love how the things that Kumiko says are kind of related to the stuff that Kosuka brings up, but also not. Like,
yeah, she's kind of not.
Like she's just so mesmerized that she's just like,
can we talk about this? What's going on right now? You know, like,
and just sort of, what's going on here? Is this a dream? Like, do you do this often? Am I, because there are a whole lot of things I'm wanting to pick up here, and I'm not sure if I should be picking up on those or not. Like, and then it's the no, love confession. Oh,
I also just love the way that this ends up being a discussion surrounding her wanting to break from the norm, which is, I mean, that's just wonderful. That works really well. And that's also just rather, I don't know. I think that's rather romantic in this instance.
Sure.
In that she's like, hey, like, I want to go on an adventure with you. Like, I want to take you to places that just break completely outside of whatever is the routine. And, yeah, that's what we're doing right now. Oh, okay.
Yep. It's, yeah.
But also their banter just in general is wonderful. But I want to talk about this little ankle thing here because I really want to just say this as being something that ties perfectly well into what's been talked about thus far. She doesn't do this ever. Like, ever. Nope. I'll just tell you, someone who has done this before knows that there is literally a very specific reason why you don't wear these, like, anything remotely close to these types of shoes while walking up a hill.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens is
even just thinking about it.
Yeah, you're going to basically carve off the skin deep into your ankles on that bit there. And as someone that has basically had their tennis shoes break at that part mid-hike, it is extremely painful even going downhill like that. So this is something she definitely doesn't do often. But also the idea that if she did do it even once, she would know potentially what kind of a problem this would be. So when she's like, no, don't your feet hurt? She doesn't basically respond with a, well, yes. It's like, well, that's obvious. It's like, I don't hate pain though. And I mean,
every visual.
Oh, wait, she says they do. She says they do. Okay.
Yeah. But like every shot of this episode was just like, okay, all right, that's kind of incredible. Like also probably my favorite.
One of my favorite hentai.
Yeah, my favorite just perv lines. Like, because it totally fits, and yet it's something where I feel like it doesn't break up the conversation, right? It just flows from one bit to the next. Also, weird attention to detail thing to bring up, but the fact that I don't think I've ever seen an anime that actually showcases the Achilles tendon.
Really?
Whenever they like show characters walking or things like that. And it's probably specifically because it was getting agitated, So they had to show the Achilles tendon to show that part specifically was, what was on the foot that was getting like, pain and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like little things from that to just everything else that we got this episode, it just blows me away.
Yeah. And then you have a terrible personality. You know that? How am I supposed to take that? It's a compliment. At that competition, you asked if I really thought we could make nationals. And then she does the little like hair grab thing there of like, that was really important to me when you said that. And and then she said, that's a terrible
thing to say, yeah.
Now, actually, hold on. Was that Kosaka saying that was a terrible thing to say? Or
yes, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Kumiko's like, no, I really did think it was a weird thought.
Right. And she's like, wait, you are insulting me. She's like, no.
It's a confession of love. And it's like...
And then she gives there's no way you're serious, which is kind of like the...
And what I love about that is that it's not just that she says there's no way you're serious, but she also kind of looks down at herself at that.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you're serious.
Yeah, that's the part that kind of pained me in like 3 different ways.
Oh,
Because it's like, oh no.
Yeah, because
man.
One of the most surefire ways I would say to make it so that love can't reach you is to convince yourself that you don't deserve it.
And even if it's not like specifically you don't deserve any love, it's just that at this time for whatever reason
you can't accept it.
I don't accept it. Yeah.
Right. And the thing is that it's so insidious because we can think that it's something that we're doing because for some non-selfish reason, right? But really what it is that actually accepting something like that can be scary and uncomfortable because it's the believing in a thing that seems too good to be true. Right? Because if you actually start to believe in it, then someone who knows, they might just pull the rug out from under you and be like, psych, gotcha.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And Kosaka's basically doesn't let off the attack here, basically.
It makes me want to rip that good girl disguise right off you.
Yeah.
She's
that
like,
friendly good girl mask, basically, that you have, but you're actually really distant. And she's not getting it because they wanted to, well, I mean, I think she gets it a little bit, but it's okay, we're going to have the joke about, she wants to rip your clothes off. No, no, it's not what she's...
mad, passionate love to you, yeah.
But, this is a love confession, though. So, realize that she's trying to break through to you. In some ways, she's trying to sing a song that you'd be willing to sing with her.
Exactly. And let's make music together.
Yeah, and if you're going to keep this good girl disguise up, that's not going to happen. Thus, Kosaka is kind of setting her up to lure her to a place where she can take off all the disguises, just be perfectly real.
In some cases,
and have wonderful music made together.
It feels
all the sexual innuendos.
Right. It does feel like rather siren-esque, in how it's set up, because it's I know you won't remove that part of you won't let your real you come through if you're in front of other people, right? So I'm going to take you to a private area, but also to show that this is special. Yes, everyone else is going to the festival, right? But also as a thing to show the kind of person that I am, but also how I feel about you. Nah, festival's not enough. We're going to go on a hike to the top of a mountain with a gorgeous view, right? And then, we'll play music up there, so that way we have something extra to do, But man, this is a date.
This is a date. I loved the whole bit of no one else would be crazy enough to hike up on a mountain on a festival day, right?
Yeah.
And I had a feeling you'd understand. I don't try to get close to people who don't interest me. And this is then showing all those little cliched kind of, girlfriends, yes, we're going to hang out and spend time together.
Giving compliments that they don't mean.
We're not even really that close and stuff. It's all for the gram, or it's, just all for, just for appearances. Being relieved to know you're the same as someone else is stupid. I gotta say, that is probably one of the most whoa, that is really genius level line to bring up, because it's basically a high schooler acknowledging how different everyone is, but that you could even think you'd find someone that is actually the same as you. And then finding relief in that is multiple layers of deception, and self-deception.
And again, it's addressing the big issue, because the elephant in the room as far as Kumiko and Kosaka, because Kumiko's but you're so much, better than I am, right? And Kosaka's saying, wait, I hold literally no high regard for the idea of people just being the same.
Yeah.
Right? So the fact that you're different, bring it. I love it.
Who cares?
Right? It's great.
It literally means nothing to me. And becoming a faceless member of the crowd is something I want to avoid.
I remember feeling that way.
Sometimes it's unavoidable, but you kind of get it, right? And it's interesting because if you think about why Kumiko is even at this school, isn't that kind of why she's here? She was basically with a bunch of friends, right?
And then she wanted to start over.
Why? There's a lot of reasons as to what it fully kind of is, ultimately. But that's kind of to basically have a restart, a point of distinction, a thing that would separate you from that which was normal.
Right.
Or
to have the
accepted.
option of either to blend in with the crowd completely, which is what she originally tried to do, but it also does set even if that wasn't the conscious decision behind it, it does set you up so that if you wanted to be different, you could.
Yeah.
You can be whatever you want.
Yeah, it also is kind of interesting in that there was a real possibility that she was kind of wanting to avoid the potential of bumping into Kosaka again.
Right, yeah.
And yet, oh, what do you know? She followed you here. Whether or not that was intentional. We'll
Although
see.
that is one of those things that is kind of interesting to think about. Like, why did Kosaka
come here?
Because she takes music very seriously, and maybe it was addressed at some point. Like she didn't manage to get accepted. I don't think that was a thing though.
That sounds like a Haikyuu thing.
Yeah, that sounds like a Haikyuu thing. Yeah, but so why this school? Was it because that she remembered that girl who was like, you really thought we could make it into nationals? You know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So I'd love to get more into the motivations of these two girls specifically, and or not just their motivations, but just their headspace, like we did with Kumiko here. And given that she's the main character, it makes sense for her to do that. But I love that
she's the one who's going to undergo the most change.
Right, but I love that when she's basically a sense that she gets it, and she says, "I know how you feel, Kosaka." That moment right there is basically a funny way of saying that she's the same. And then in that moment, we get basically the most like sensually charged moment of the whole thing when she says, "Reina," and then that's my first name.
Yeah, puts her finger on her forehead and then goes down the nose and off the top lip.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, wow.
It's like,
okay,
all right, like,
I want to be special. I don't want to be just like everyone else. That's why I play the trumpet. To become special. And then Kumiko's just like, I was about to be completely pulled in.
Yeah.
At that moment, I felt like becoming her victim wouldn't be that bad.
And just the, like...
drags you across the stairs, like, leaning towards her. Don't leave, you know?
Yeah,
And it's kind of this thing of, can you actually do that? Mm-hmm. And then she's like, oh, yeah, I can go far beyond that.
And I love that Kosaka acknowledges the difference between wanting to be special and
thinking that you're special.
Sorry, not wanting to be special, thinking that you're special and working to become special. Because I feel like there are plenty of people that think they're special, right? And then
they're going to get weeded out in the auditions very soon.
Well, right, yeah. Well, and I'm not even just talking about in this show, you know, but just especially at that time of life, right? You know, where it's like, okay, you're in high school, right? And, you know, like you think all kinds of things, right? You know, and but the question is will you actually turn yourself into that, right? And that's the one of the aspects of Kosaka that Kumiko finds so charming, so you know, transfixing, right?
Yeah.
But that goes to show that she is acknowledging the road ahead by saying it could there are people where they just end up thinking that they're special and they don't actually put the work into to make themselves truly special. But but then the brashness, I'm going to do it. Yeah,
like that is just inspiring. And then we get probably one of the cutest moments we've had in this show thus far, where
that totally surprised me.
Yeah, that was so out of nowhere. And then she breaks down, laughs, does the whole like clutching her hands in front of her, you know, with her skirt and stuff,
and then sits down,
like basically stumbles over and collapses. And we get the
the classic holding the skirt down, you know.
Yeah, well, it's not showing anything, of course,
right.
there, but knees, you know.
Right.
And then you definitely have a terrible personality, Kumiko. Just laughing at that. And then next scene is the shoes are off, credits start to roll, and they basically get prepped to do their music.
All right, now, y'all are probably going to say I have a foot fetish or something for saying this, but I want to point out that I really like the decision to have the shoes come off.
Oh,
because
they're free.
Because it's free, right? Yeah. They're basically just being like, okay, like that is the representation in my mind of the dropping the defenses, dropping the borders, right? You know, because even if there was a whole lot of other stuff that would have been implied or potentially have happened if this wasn't an anime and they weren't in high school and things like that, that's basically the closest representation we'll get to showing that they are being truly vulnerable in this state where they just have their instruments.
That's why
playing.
This is romantic, is that they're basically willing to share this moment together with no walls or masks or disguises up. And then what are we playing? The one we played at our third year of middle school at the farewell party. And she lets down her hair. And I really think that in this moment is basically the thing of like, I missed you. Like the thing of I remembered this specific song.
Oh, did Kumiko not go to the farewell party?
I don't know. I would assume she does just because she knows what they're playing.
Oh yeah, right.
So of course she has to know on some level, but it's the thing of that's something that we didn't ever see.
Yep.
That wasn't a part of the flashbacks that we got. So
right, because she didn't maybe see it as important, but Kosaka did. Yeah, and the way they look at each other while they're playing, it's just like I love that. Like they are harmonizing.
Yeah,
you know?
And thus we basically have the romantic, dreamlike moment passing.
But
and it goes to the next day where we're getting ready
for auditions,
and it says the next piece begins, meaning the piece that was born out of that night came from love.
Yep.
Just like now,
the next
Midori
piece
said. So, yeah.
But also, I just have to mention it again since we got to this point.
I love when words are not used to communicate things that could be communicated with words, but they can be communicated better without them. And I feel like a lot of the stuff with Kosaka and Kumiko's whole hike thing and their date and whatnot was that, but also with Hazuki going up to Midori. And she's talking about stuff and like listing off the things that they did, and then Midori's just like pierces straight to the point,
and
then the tears and she hugs her and her little sister hugs her, and
yeah. Oh, but guys, this was a beautiful episode.
This was a fantastic episode.
Wonderful episode. God. So much in this, and we didn't even get to discuss it all. But I'm very glad we're watching this show. This is warming, heartwarming.
Before this, I definitely loved this show. It's good stuff. Good stuff. This is the kind of thing though where it's like, okay, I feel like I'm getting a bit of that evangelical zeal of I gotta get other people to watch it. Because this was a damn good episode. Oh man,
it's art.
It is. It is indeed. Yep.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, all the info for that's in the description thingy down below.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.